Anybody see that Zoom skit on Saturday Night Live? There was a skit done with everybody was at home, and they did a Zoom meeting with World Sales Company, and the two switchboard operators were women. And this one woman just picked her laptop up and went to the bathroom to have a pee. They told, no, we don't do that. Jeez. Oh, I broke Zoom. She's crying on the floor. It's just brilliant.
You're good to go, Cam.
Good to go.
Thank you, Gwen. Okay. So council received the report from the treasurer dated January 14th, 2020 as information. Council gave the treasurer direction to provide them with the impacts of the options discussed on group benefits, and the overtime report was received as information. Now, at this point, we did have a question about whether or not council wanted to continue to receive COVID updates. And council, do you continue to receive them the way you have? Can I get a thumbs up or thumbs down? Are we good with what we've been receiving?
Good.
Yeah, I'm seeing 2 thumbs.
Yes.
Yep, 3 thumbs. Councillor Schulist, are you good? Okay. So staff will provide council with those updates in a package, because they're constant and steady. They can't possibly write reports. They'd be obsolete the next day. All right, at this point, where are we at with the budget, Amanda? Throw it at Amanda.
So it just made an increase of $5,000 for, I'd have to look back again, but I believe it was either brushing or ditching. So further to that, there were no changes other than what the impacts will be on the budget for the health benefits review. That it will likely decrease those costs within those departmental budgets. So moving forward, I would need to know if council wishes to maintain at the 2.2%, any savings that may be realized from changes to health benefits. Are we placing them in a certain reserve, or are we just going to continue to decrease the general levy? And I also have the allocation of the gas tax funds and the OSIP funding.
Okay. So before we can make any clear decision on where we're at in terms of decreasing or staying the same and reinvesting money, I guess, into reserves or whatever, I think we should have the discussion about what the impact would be on the water budget in terms of the gas tax if we weren't to use it there. Does council concur with that at this point? Does that seem like the thing to tackle? Okay. So everybody has the water budget as it was sketched. It's page 48 and 49 of your package. Okay. So in that budget, the key big item is the water meter replacement, and water meter replacement that's overdue. They are past their life cycle climb, and we were replacing residential and the larger business and commercial and institutional meters as well. I'm trying to remember, Amanda, what was the total amount that we were looking at to replace all those meters?
So $280,000 for the handheld water meter units, and then the large capacity meters, 30,182. So
Okay,
310, 200.
So that's the big project that we're trying to mitigate the impact of. And what was the proposal to mitigate some of that cost?
So the proposal was to draw 150,000 from the modernization reserve,
Mhm.
130,000 of the gas tax reserve to be used, and then balance of the project costs to be drawn from life cycle reserves.
Okay. Okay, got that. So where do we want to start with this discussion? Certainly, if we drew 130,000 out of the water reserve rather than using the gas tax, you know where the water reserve would be, at what level? I'm just looking for the numbers you had.
So on page 4 of your budget is the water and wastewater reserves. I wish to look at that.
What page is that?
Four. Okay. All right, so on page 4, it says we have $507,850 in that reserve. If we drew another 130,000, and that would be at year end,
Correct.
we'd be down to $377,850. If we had, let's see, if we had not considered putting the gas tax against this, basically the impact that would have had to keep the reserve at about $500,000 would have been a 28% increase in the rate. So we went with a 2%, but if we were trying to capture $130,000, now you've got to recognize that if we use $130,000 this year from that reserve, we have to build it back up. We already know it's not at a point where it's not healthy. $500,000 is not a healthy amount of money when you consider the kind of costs we've seen over the last few years, when you consider this is also for the water distribution system. So if we draw this out of the reserve, we do have to recognize that we're not going to be looking at a 2% per year increase going forward. We're going to be looking at a much more significant increase because we're going to have to get that money back. So that's the balancing factor here that we have to consider as a council. I turn it over to anybody to talk to. Who wants to speak to this? Nobody wants to touch this. It's a tough one, I admit, but we haven't spent the money in this way in the past. Councillor Bromwich.
Thank you, through you, Chair. Anything we can do to minimize impact on the people, especially this year, with a large tax increase, we have to look at every avenue here. I would like to stick with the 2.2% increase. It's fairly in keeping with what we've been doing in the past, and anything we can do to keep at that level, I think would be appreciated by our residents. Anything less than that, and especially this year, we have to be very serious about our taxation. We have to give everybody as much of a break as we can. There's enough on the table right now to load the expenses onto people's lives. So I'm all for taking money from one account right now and putting in another to lower that burden on the people. And I think this is the right way to go, personally. Thank you.
Okay. So basically, if we use the gas tax in this way, it is significantly going to mitigate the impact that we're going to see on our water. Oh, sorry, I just had something really weird pop up on one of my computers and I don't know how to get rid of it. Okay, I'll have to just work around that. On our water customers. And at this point, we have committed to a 2% increase this year, but if we take the 130,000 out of the reserve for water to complete the meter replacement, then we do have to recognize that we are going to have to collect that money back. And that will mean fairly significant rate increases going forward for at least a few years until we get ourselves back up to roughly where we normally sit, which is around $500,000. Anyone? Take thoughts from anyone on this. Councillor Schulist.
Now, we're focusing on the gas tax, $130, $130,000 towards the system, right?
Mhm.
Sure, that's easy for me to say. Yeah. I think we have an opportunity now to support the system. I know that this money we can go in different avenues and stuff that. And then in the past, the system has never gotten any money from the tax, the gas tax revenue. So I think we should really be looking at it. Maybe this is their moment, and this will help the system. And also, at one point, Councillor Brumwich had mentioned part of economic development, and I think that this would definitely help, especially our businesses and so on. So I have no problem putting that money towards the system. Thank you.
Okay, Sue.
Thank you, Chair. Just want to clarify, this is when we say gas tax, this is the gas tax top up. Once we reviewed the operation managers and the operation supervisors proposal for their work plan, we are doing just as many loads as we were previously with the gas tax, and that's still being distributed towards that. And we are not sacrificing any of the projects that we had proposed. As you recall, in their work plan, it said the amount that we were hoping to do every year, and we are still meeting that amount of road.
Yes, Councillor Wilmer.
Yeah, thank you for that, Sue. That was my question. So this 130 is the one-time top up that we did receive. It's not part of the regular gas tax funding. It's the additional amount that we received. Correct?
That's right.
Perfect.
Okay, I lost Councillor Bromwich. I'm not sure if I've lost him entirely or if he's coming back. Maybe he went off to check something out. Okay. I kind of wanted to have everyone here for this discussion, so I don't know where to take this at this point.
I think he will call back in. He just got booted off.
Oh, did he? Okay.
There he is.
There he is.
There he is.
Sorry, folks. Personal phone.
Oh, okay. Okay, so are you all right, Councillor Bromwich?
Fine, thank you.
Okay, so at this point, I don't know if you missed, Councillor clarified that the 130,000 that we are looking at this point top up. The original amount of gas tax has been used consistently for as long as I can recall, certainly. So we're looking at what was given as a top up last year from the Fed. So to look at your water system budget then, as it was presented to council, that includes the gas tax as a component of what's offsetting the costs of the meter replacement. Now, we do need to recognize as the council that rates do have to slowly and steadily increase because we should be planning to replace the meter the next time around from the current customers. So that's one of those budgetary pressures that we recognize going forward, which is part of what we're trying to build into monies going into reserve. Anyone want to speak to this any further? at this point?
Nope.
Right. So then, Amanda, do you want me to get a resolution about the gas tax for the water budget? Sue? Sue? Sue?
Yes, I have 3 resolutions as it pertains to the gas tax and the OSIF funding. And we always try to get that by resolution. The work plan that you received from the roads department showed that we were proposing that the gas tax fund go towards the gravel resurfacing project, and that the OSIF portion go towards Smiglinski Stopa Parkway project. So I could read those resolutions. Do you want me to
Can
do them?
you-
I will do them individually.
Thank you. Okay.
That $125,076 of gas tax funds be applied to the 2020 gravel resurfacing project of municipal roads.
Okay, gravel resurfacing project.
Project of municipal road.
Okay, thank you. I just lost a word there. Okay, could I get a mover for that, please? Moved by Councillor Wilmer, seconded by Councillor Bromwich. Is there any discussion on that resolution? Seeing none, all those in favor? And that's carried. Okay, next one.
Okay, through the chair, that 177,671 of OSIF funding be applied to this Smiglinski Stopa Parkway project.
Okay, could I get a mover for that, please? Moved by Councillor Poplinski, seconded by Councillor Schulist. Is there any discussion on that? Okay, I'm not seeing any. All those in favor? And that's carried. Okay, final resolution.
Thank you. Through the chair, that council directs the treasurer to apply $130,000 of gas tax top-up funding toward the cost of the 2020 water wastewater meter replacement project.
Okay, could I get a mover for that, please? Moved by Councillor Schulis, seconded by Councillor Wilmer. Is there any discussion on that motion? Councillor Poplinski.
Yes, I'm opposed to the total amount being shifted over there. I suggested a percentage.
Okay. Thank you. Certainly, it's something we could look at in the future, to look at a percentage. We've never done a percentage towards water or wastewater. We've always used the funds for roads, and I think that's why we feel, some councils members feel this is a unique situation. Anyone want to speak to that point? Councillor Poplinski?
Yes, my argument is that when it goes into roads, everybody uses it, even the people in Barry's Bay, goes to roads in Barry's Bay, an area, we all use it. But to take the whole amount and put it into the budget, which represents 15 or less % of the township, I think is not right. I think that, we were struggling trying to find some money a while ago for some ditching on a very neglected road, which is the Chepeski Mills Road. There are many others like that. And I understand there's some challenges dealing with the rates. And however, that's reality. And so that's my position on it.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else wish to speak to it at this point? Okay, seeing no one, then I'll call the vote. All those in favor? And that's carried. Okay, what else do we need to complete, Amanda? I know we still have to wait on getting the information from the benefits changes, the potential changes, and make a decision there.
Right. So I think we're good, as long as council doesn't have any other questions. So what I would propose is that I will receive those numbers from the insurance company And then a final number of the levy can be presented to council. And we can then proceed with the budget
Okay.
approval.
Okay, so once you do that, if there's any last minute fine tuning, we could do it at that point. Okay, so now council, we also have a copy of the wastewater budget here, which is pages 50 and page 51. Nothing's changed on that. Did anyone have any concerns on that before we complete today? I think it's the same budget you were presented. And as we identified, that was a 4% rate increase that we were looking for there, and the rates were set. We have done first and second reading on the bylaw for these two budgets. So at this point, with that resolution of council, I'm assuming the budgets can come back to council by bylaw for the third and final reading. So would we be bringing them back to our next meeting? She's ignoring me. I don't know if she heard me.
Mhm.
Sue?
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were waiting on Amanda.
No. When it comes to bylaws, I'm looking at you. So we did first and second reading of the water and the wastewater budgets, and we set the rates. So we need to do third and final reading on those two bylaws, I believe there were. So will they come back to council at our next meeting? Oh, geez. I think I'm getting a yes. I gotta love it when the internet's so bad that you get short, chunky bits. Okay. So we can complete that. At our next meeting, Amanda, which we were looking at one more special council meeting. We were looking at hopefully a week from today, because we have some reports for the landfill sites that need to be completed and approved, and we could at that point finalize and pass a motion on the budget. And we could also do those bylaws for water and wastewater and other tidying up. So is council amenable to having a special council meeting a week from today? Are we good? Is everyone available?
Yep.
Start at 9, start at 10. What would you like? Can we start at 9?
9 is good.
I don't know if I'm getting 10 fingers there. Councillor Bromwich wants to start at 10. 10?
Oh,
Okay.
10 is,
Okay, so what we'll do is we'll set up our next special council meeting for a week today at 10 o'clock, and we'll be able to complete some of that business. So you will have received I think you've received all of the reports for the various landfills. And Sue, are we going to have Pinchin on that at that meeting? Yes, we're going to have them
Yes,
Zoom.
yes,
Okay.
they will zoom in.
Okay, so we'll be able to ask any questions we had on those final reports. Okay, is there any further business at this point that anybody wished to discuss? I've lost my agenda. We'll call it new business. Kind of messed it up a bit, but is there any new business? Anything outstanding? Anything? Good. Okay. So then I'm going to do the confirming bylaw. Bylaw 2020-40 is the confirming bylaw for the special council meeting of April 14th, 2020. Is that bylaw 2020-40 being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the council of the corporation of the township of Madawaska Valley at a special council meeting of April 14th, 2020, be given first and second reading. Can I have a mover, please? Moved by Councillor Wilmer, seconded by Councillor Schulist. All those in favor? And that's carried. The recommendation is bylaw 2020-40 be given third and final reading this 14th day of April 2020. Could I have a mover? Moved by Councillor Poplinski, seconded by Councillor Bromwich. All those in favor? And that's carried. And can I get a motion to adjourn? Moved by Councillor Wilmer, seconded by Councillor Schulist. All those in favor? And that's carried. We are adjourned. Thank you, gentlemen. That was a lot of work today, and I really do appreciate your contributions and your effort. And also thank you to staff. Everyone, please stay home, stay safe.